Members of the private and the public sector spent an entire day inside the River Hall room at the Belize Biltmore Plaza Hotel to continue fleshing out the challenges that both parties encounter whilst doing business in Belize. It is a business forum that seeks to improve the economy of Belize and encourage the businessman and woman to keep investing in the country. Mike Singh is the co-chair of the Economic Development Council, and he gave us a clearer idea of what they set out to do today.
Today was a precursor for the forum in October, where we wanted to have a business session to get an idea of what the real pertinent issues are that people want to see addressed. Because we found at the last Prime Minister's Forum, we spent a lot of time fleshing out and discussing issues that were never aired before. And with the Prime Minister's time, you haven't seen him in the forum, but he's very interactive. He gets very, very involved in the discussion, and we wanted to make the most out of his time. So we thought if we had a session before, really extract some of the pertinent issues of the day and spend the next 2 to 3 months fleshing those issues out and really developing them, so that when we have the discussion with him on these issues, we can just get down to business and hopefully make some very efficient decisions.
As we mentioned earlier, it is all about compromise, addressing the existing challenges for both the private and the public sector. Singh gave us an idea of the issues on the public sector side.
I think the dialogue on both sides is very rich. One of the things that we spoke about, which would speak to your question, is the issue of taxation. There's a feeling on one side that perhaps we overtax, and there's a feeling on the other side that perhaps the private sector is underpaying. And some of the issues that we brought up was really the need for more efficient collection, more efficient reporting, and perhaps re-looking at our tax system to see how we can divide it and examine it better, so that we can look at what the true costs of taxes are for businesses, and maybe come up with a system that will be more promoting of business as opposed to preventing business. So yeah, taxation I think was a good area where we saw the difference from the point of view.
Kay Menzies, who represented the private sector and holds the seat of co-chair of the Economic Development Council, spoke of some of the challenges from the private sector.
In general terms, we are looking at issues of higher taxes. There are some constraints in terms of procedural. For example, when you go to do hiring, you may find shortage of employment in some directions. There are issues with regard to technology. One person mentioned that there's the cost of communication or the access to communication. One issue for us is always coming up, and that's access to finance. These are things that are being addressed. Some may not feel it's fast enough, and that was one of the purposes today for the public sector to update what's being done and to show that action's being taken, what action's being taken, and whether private sector finds it adequate.
According to Singh, the dialogue has been positive, and he is confident that significant progress will be made as the conversation continues.
I think we're at an all-time high. I think we, from 2011 when we had the first forum, and subsequently when we formed the Economic Development Council, we meet on a monthly basis. So for many people in the room, these topics aren't new. This is really the wider body that we're meeting with, but there's a constant dialogue that goes on between private sector and public sector at our monthly meetings. We've also developed several working committees that are co-chaired and manned by both sides. As an example, the Tax Review Committee. There's a steering committee that's working together with the IDB on developing a one-year strategy on how to relook at our tax system. And that is actually chaired by a member of the private sector, along with the financial secretary. So we're not going to be imposing a new tax system. We're actually going to be consulting, working with them one-on-one, having them understand what it is that we're trying to do, and hopefully come to a meeting of the mind where we both agree that this is the right system for us to move on to. So it's become a very consultative process, and I'm very proud of it, because nobody wants to live in a country where the government is dictating, but nobody wants to live in a country where it's a free-for-all. And I think having this partnership really helps us to strengthen our governance.
In early October, both sectors are scheduled to meet with Prime Minister Dean Barrow to present the outputs of these sessions and to see how they will move forward in addressing the challenges.